Kia ora Year 9. This video is going to go through the first page of the Foundation Algebra Homework Booklet. So on page 1 we had a whole lot of questions where I wanted you to simplify expressions, right? So it went like this. I'm just going to slowly work my way through all of these. And most of you are getting this really, really well. You're especially all understanding the idea of like terms, which is that if I've got the same exact combination of letters, so here I've got an A, another A, and another A, I can combine them. So I've got 3 lots of A. So for this next one here, I've got 3 lots of A plus 4 lots of A. That gives me 7A. In the next one, I can put the C's together and I can put the N's together. So that gives me 2C plus 3N. Now, notice that when I do that, I'm just writing 2C, not 2 times C. Okay, so when we're doing simplification, we get rid of those times signs. The other thing that we always do is we write this 2 here, right? We call that the coefficient. So we don't write C2, we write 2C. And we can't combine the C's and the N's because they're not like terms. In the next one, we've got multiplication. So we've got A times itself 5 times. A times A times A times A times A. This question was done very well. Nearly everyone recognised that that was A to the power of 5. And in the next question, we're back to like terms. Okay, well, so I'm mixing it up on purpose so that you recognise that this one is about multiplication and this one is about adding and subtracting. The thing to watch in here is that we've got 5x, but we've got take away 9x, right? So 5x take away 9x is going to give me negative 4x. And if you're having trouble seeing that, just draw yourself a wee number line. So here's 0, here's the 5x, and we want to take away 9. So we're going back 5 and then back 4 more. And that gets me back to negative 4x. And then I've got 6y. They can't be combined, so I can write that simply as negative 4x plus 6y. Now, some of you went a step further, and this was really good, and you recognised that this is the same as 6y take away 4x. So you wrote it, instead of writing it as negative 4x plus 6y, some of you wrote it as 6y take away 4x. Right, that was great. You don't have to do that. But to the human eye, most of us like seeing the positive bit first. This is 100% correct though, guys, and it's fine to write it like that. In the next question, we're back to multiplication. So we've got a number 2, and then we've got times A times A times A times A. So you could write that as A to the power of 4 times 2, but that's not fully simplified, right? Because we don't like to have those times signs left hanging in there when we're doing algebra. So we're going to delete that. So that I would have given you a cross for that because I'm trying to teach you that we don't want the times sign and we always want the coefficient first, right? So this is the correct answer here. This is not completely simplified because it's still got a times sign sitting in there. And then the thing that I really don't want to see still is I don't want to see putting the number second. Now, it means kind of the same thing, but we have these really strong conventions in maths that we want you to learn from year 9. And one of them is that we always put the coefficient, the number, first. So this is telling me that I've got 2 lots of A to the power of 4. The same thing happens in the next one. So I've got 2 times 3, not 2 plus 3, 2 times 3, which is going to give me 6. And I've got 6 times A to the power of 3, but that's not fully simplified, right? So we want to write that as 6A to the power of 3. I don't want to see this, okay? So I gave that a cross this time because we're at the end of the topic and we know how to do these conventions by now, okay? So there we are. We've got 6A cubed. Right, the next couple are also multiplication ones. So in this one here, we've got A squared times K cubed. So we're going to write that simply as A squared K cubed. Now, it doesn't matter with letters which way around I write them, so I could have also written k cubed a squared. In the next one, I've got a times a, that's a squared, and k times k, that's k squared, times 5. So really important here, as I went on and on about back up here, that we put the coefficient, the number, first. So 5a squared, k squared, is one correct answer there. Or the other correct answer that we could have done here, let me change pen colour. Maybe I won't change pen colour. I could have written 5k squared a squared. So that gets a tick, that gets a tick. Right? I'll show you a couple of things that I'm not going to give a tick to. I'm not going to give a tick to a squared k squared 5, and I'm not going to give a tick to a squared 5k squared. Right? To make it clear that the 5 is timesing, it needs to be at the front, right? So again, it's what we call a convention in algebra. But it's such a strong convention that I'm going to insist that you guys learn how to use that this year. Okay, next one. We're back to like terms. So here we've got 4a plus 10a. That gives me 14a. But I've also got take away 3x plus 5x. So that gives me plus 2x, not plus 8x, right? Because it's negative 3. So here's your number line. So we're starting at negative 3 and we're adding 5. So that's that one there. Fine, obviously, to have 2x plus 14a. That also gets a big tick. In the next one, we've got the same kind of idea. And this was done pretty well. We've got 8a. And then the next a is here. We've got 8a take away 2a gives me 6a. Here we've got 6c and 7c. So it's plus 13c. Or you could write 13c plus 6a. Both of those are ticks. Now in the next one, most of you recognise that this is 50 times x. We'll write this out the long way. 50 times x divided by 10. And you knew that you had to simplify this 50 over 10. Most of you did this right, so you recognise that 50 over 10 was 5. So then it's just going to be 5x. Some of you, I could see what you were doing. You wrote 5x over 1. I want you to take that one step further. Just think about it. If someone says, how many dogs have you got? You would never say to them that you had 2 over 1 dogs, right? You would say, oh, I've got 2 dogs. Right? So here we don't say that we've got 5x over 1. We just say that we've got 5x. And the same thing here. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so my answer is not 6a over 1, but 6a. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to do the same thing with pages 2, 3, and 4 of the booklet later on today. Have a good weekend.